Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining into the Future Is Now podcast. I'm your host, Spencer Nakamura. I hope you all had a great holiday season. By the time this comes out, it's going to be the new year. I think I'm in the same boat as everybody else in the world when I say I am ready to move on to 2021. I think that this year is going to be a great year. 2020, it can only go up from here. So I'm actually really excited about today's episode. It's with two of my friends, Kyle and Artem. And this past year, in the midst of everything going on, they created this brand called Lately. And it's a clothing brand. And if you know them, you know that they are creative, they're amazing, they're followers of the Lord. And so we got to sit down and have a candid conversation of how that business is going with them, talk about challenges, talk about things that they're excited about. And so I love this conversation. I hope that you get something out of it. I think that this is a great conversation that talks about starting, that talks about actually following what you feel like God is doing in your life. And I know that's the scariest thing sometimes, to step out and actually start something. So I hope this conversation blesses you. Thank you so much again for tuning into the podcast. If you like the podcast, please subscribe, turn on notifications, pump it out to everybody you know, share it on social media. It would mean the world to me. So thank you again for listening or watching, and I hope that you enjoyed the episode. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the Future Is Now Leadership podcast. I'm with some of my good friends, Artem and Kyle from Lately brand. How you guys doing today?
Great.
Oh, absolutely
Doing
fantastic.
good. You guys just flew in from LA,
Yep.
where you currently live right now,
Yep.
adjusting to the cold weather that is Washington.
Risk.
But you guys are from
Risk.
here.
Yes.
So, to everybody that's watching, listening, I guess we can start off super easy. We can start off with kind of like your story of Lately. So, clothing brand, based now out of LA.
Yep.
Really awesome. I mean, I've gotten a couple pieces from it. I know here in Washington where it started, tons of momentum, tons of people that are about it. And so I just wanted to have you guys on here just to kind of talk about how it's been for you guys, the start of it, fun things, challenging things. So to everybody that's listening, I guess we can start off with what was the start of Lately? How did it start?
Yeah.
Do you want to start us off?
Oh, I'll start us off for sure. So Kyle and I have been friends for close to four years now. Yeah. And I don't know, we've just developed this like friendship where it's like we can tell each other anything. We could just be ourselves around each other 100%. And we were just sitting in our dorm room a couple years back, living together. Horrible
college life,
horrible baby. Dorm room with just the worst experience. No, I'm just kidding. It wasn't that bad. But some of our roommates moved out, and we were just left alone. It was a wild time. Yeah. But we were like super into clothing, super into like getting dressed up and doing our own thing. Like we express ourselves through clothes. And so I told Kyle, I was like, hey, why don't we just start our own thing and start making our own stuff, like start expressing ourselves that way. And he was down, and that's kind of how we started. And then we sat in a coffee shop for like a week straight.
That sucked.
And we tried to just make an idea out of nothing.
That process, like, it kind of started out, like, I think for me, with like Artem, he's the super talented like graphic designer.
Yeah, super
and,
creative.
like, yeah.
You know, the prodigy.
Right.
Yeah.
And like a lot of our friends, like, I mean, you're obviously like incredibly like musically talented as well, and there's like our friends like with 19 and you and Cam and all them, they're like making music. Other friends that are making music or doing other things. Yeah. Like, and they're expressing themselves creatively.
Yeah.
And like for me, I'm like, well, frick, what's like my creative niche? I'm just like the friend that's like, I'm just like hanging out, supporting their endeavors. Like, wow, this is so sick.
Kyle's
Good
the
job.
glue that holds us together.
And I'm like, then like slowly developed like, man, like how I dress is like how I express myself creatively. And that's where kind of the interest took place, and where I started running in this lane of like, okay, how I'm dressing myself, I'm expressing my creativity, and seeing like just being influenced by other people, then seeing that like creative niche influence how Lately started. is birthed out of a place of just wanting to be creative.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the heart of Lately is like we want people to be creative, because I think a common misconception is like people think like you're born creative.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like everyone's creative in their own way. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
you're expressing your creativity by creating this platform and creating this way of expressing leadership and other people's lanes and trying to inspire other people to do what like other people are doing but in their own way. And I think for us, like the baseline of what Lately is like we want to inspire other people to create what they've been inspired by lately, because that's what we're inspired by. We're inspired by so many things.
Yeah.
And that's we create out of a place in which we're inspired by Lately.
So that's the premise of Lately.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah. And I think like we originally started Lately wasn't the original name.
okay. What was the original name?
I hate saying
Is
it.
it
It's so
public?
bad.
Is this public information?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
We created a whole Instagram account. It was like a mood board vibe thing. We had that moment.
We had a little feeler mood board Instagram.
Yeah.
It was called No Entry.
No entry.
Yeah.
Trash.
Exclusive.
Yeah.
Absolutely
And I kind of
trash.
I took Kyle to the side and I was like, Kyle, this name.
Right.
This name it's cool, I guess, but
this
you're
actually
like-
happened.
but it's a little uninviting to people because they're like, no entry. Can I enter or what?
How about you come be a part of No Entry?
Yeah.
You're like, what?
Wait, pause.
So am I invited or not? What's the vibe here?
Yeah. And so we wanted to like flip it on its head and make it like as inviting as possible.
Yeah.
And so we sat in a coffee shop for hours
It
and
was gnarly.
racked our brains for what we should call this thing.
It was literally all day. I think.
It was
Was it at Olympia?
no, it was
part
actually
of it.
blue.
Part of it.
Oh right, we started at Olympia and then we started the day at Olympia Coffee. Shouts out, best
Shout out,
best shop
baby.
in all of Tacoma.
All of
I mean, the West Coast, to be honest.
Whoa.
Yeah, okay, I'm with it.
Hot take.
LA Coffee? Nah,
Not
not
it?
it. Not
I mean,
it.
okay.
Hold on. Well, like, do you not like Blue Bottle? Is that overhyped?
Do you mean Starbucks? Wait.
Literally.
Wait.
Okay. LA coffee. We're gonna take a little tangent here.
Yeah, I love. Yeah, absolutely.
LA coffee is good, but nothing will ever compare to Pacific Northwest coffee.
Oh,
Nothing.
yeah, I agree.
Nothing.
Okay, he put it way better than
Like,
I
nothing.
ever
There's
could.
great spots. Like I found my
Okay.
favorite. That's probably the most comparable, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's Maru Coffee. Blue Bottle is the Starbucks of LA. It's like
I didn't know that. See, I'm just a job
it's
kid,
quality.
bro.
It's
I
quality.
see people in LA posting Blue Bottle.
Right.
I'm like, Blue Bottle must be
Right.
nice.
I mean,
Right.
people up here post their Starbucks
That's
cups,
true,
so
and
that's
that's a good
just kind of
point.
what it is.
yeah, there is no coffee like the Northwest. I went to when we were in Cuba. Apparently, they were like, "Yo, Cuba has the best coffee," so I'm hyped, right, when I'm going there.
Yeah.
Then we show up, and first thing at the host home, I'm like, "Hey, can I have some coffee? Because I heard your coffee's great." She's like, "Yeah." So she like takes a cup, dumps like, I'm not joking, like probably half a cup of sugar in it, and then I thought, this ain't it. And that's when I knew that Northwest, no coffee like it.
Dude,
No
it's-
coffee, bro.
Yeah. Live and die on that statement right there.
Absolutely.
Okay,
It's just
anyways.
so good.
So you're in OCR. You're starting this process
Right.
of
Yeah.
figure out a new name.
Right. No, I think
Yeah.
we're like in the process of like we're trying to create content for
Okay.
Yeah.
this brand, this thing we've established and want to grow.
Yeah. The
Then-
day started off as like just kind of making stuff to post or like
Okay.
to like I don't know, just create ideas of where we're going, like ideas that we want to put out. Like
Yeah.
our first product that we ever put out, we had to reconceptualize it after we changed the name. So we were just kind of like figuring out branding things.
Yeah.
And then when we switched
6 hours later, we ended up in another coffee shop.
we ended
Which
up
one?
at Blue Beer.
Later.
Oh, Bluebeard.
Bluebeard.
And we
What's up?
sat there until the night ended, and we racked our brains and finally came up with this idea called Lately.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like what Kyle said. It stems from the idea of like we're inspired by people all the time, and we're inspired by streets, and we're inspired by the world. Everything that exists, we're
Right.
inspired by it, and we want to create things out of that. And like we want people to be inspired by the things that they're around lately. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So it's kind of like a brand that kind of gives back a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love that.
Yeah.
And I want to go back to kind of what you said, Kyle, because you were saying that you were in the position where you were trying to find your place.
Yeah.
You had all these friends doing their things.
Hard.
And yeah, I think that's like something that a lot of people don't talk about, is the idea of sometimes feeling a little bit lost in what you want to do.
Sure.
And I think, you know, because I always used to say, I'm not a creative. Sure. Like, I'm not, because I would associate creativity with music, with painting, with, you know, fashion, with all of that. And while there's like some interest in each of those, like I'm not inclined to create content because of it. But I feel like when it comes down to it, creativity is just the expression of yourself in whatever you're doing. Yeah. You know, you can be creative in any element. Oh, yeah. And that's why I feel like I appreciate you guys in Lately, because it's so, I feel like it makes your brand so like relatable and friendly to be able to where like, I'm like, oh yeah, I want to be a part of that, you know? Because, and I think it's a polar opposite of kind of what you were saying before of no entry, right? But now you got Lately. If you came out with no entry, honestly, I would have been like, I don't know if I can relate to that. Dude, but Lately, dude, I'm down for Lately. So that's it's really cool.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
Yeah, it's cool to be able to hear that there's a place, and you just got to find your passion. Yeah. Like, I feel like there's so much pressure kind of to do different things sometimes, especially for young adults, that when's the last time you sat down and you're like, okay, what do I actually like love doing, right? And because a business or your calling or whatever you want to call it can stem from anything,
right?
You know?
No, literally.
Like literally, like 2020 in the world we're living in, like it's not about making money, but you can make a career out of literally anything. You could be some, you know, cat loving, blanket knitting
and it
woman
works
and sell it on the internet. Dude, and it works.
Yes, exactly.
So that's where it's like, I think encouraging young people to like not say, hey, what do I feel like I should do? But like just literally say, hey, what do I love doing? What am I passionate about? And then follow that, you know? So that's awesome. And so now you guys, when did you guys decide to move to LA?
I think
it's been a long time coming.
Really?
I think
for me at least.
Sitting on it for a while.
For me, I think I wanted to move like 3.5, 4 years ago. I like wanted to move like right out of college when I graduated. Mm-hmm. Like I wasn't looking to like be hired on at like the church. Yeah. Like I wanted to like move and go to LA, but in that moment it just wasn't the right timing. Mm-hmm. And God just kind of set me up, and I didn't really feel released in the place I was at. Then I think that's where it was really birthed in me. There was no particular reason yet. Yeah. Like Lately wasn't even an idea 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. But I think that's when I really just wanted to move, because friends, relationships were down there, and I think like it's LA, you know what I mean? Right. Then I got to a place where I got past the concept of like, oh my gosh, it's Los Angeles. And I'm like, it's just a place where there's really cool people and all that kind of stuff. Networking. Then Lately was birthed, and I think like if I would have moved to LA and not be doing Lately, I would have hated it. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm moving down there paying all this money like to live in a place that's cool.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
There's no point. If you're not chasing something down there, there's no point.
You gotta have a purpose down there.
But I think like 3 years ago is when I really wanted to move, and I think it became more realistic. And like I really set the goal. I think it was about a year ago. I told myself like my goal is to move in the fall. Mm-hmm. Move in like September, October time, and we moved there beginning of October. Yeah. For him, it's a little different story.
Oh yeah.
I had to do some convincing.
Yeah, for sure.
Really?
I didn't want to go at first.
Really?
Well, okay. I've always had this idea of moving, right? And since I was younger, I've wanted to move somewhere, wherever that was. I wanted to move to Russia at one point. Anywhere. Just get me out of here. Not because I don't like it here. I think this place is gorgeous. It's beautiful. I just want like a change. Right. I really like when something's new. And it wasn't until like 2 years ago that I kind of set my heart on LA. Mm-hmm. We have a good friend named Ben who friend of the podcast. Friend of the
podcast, baby.
Ben Grace.
He did a lot of convincing for me. Like he was the one that kind of, him and Kyle both.
What a recruiter.
Yeah,
just Artem away from us, Ben.
Trying to get me back to where he lives or whatever. The main thing in my like life was that it was so hard for me to move because my parents are super strict, super like, I wouldn't say controlling is the wrong word, but they're very like, they know what they want for me, you know, and always been like an obedient, I follow what they say kind of, because I know that they mean good, you know? And so it was always this battle of like, I want to move, but I don't want to upset them, and I want things to work out well where we're both happy, you know, stuff like that. But then when Lately was created, and then it started gaining that momentum and that drive, and I realized we couldn't do everything we wanted to here.
Yep.
I realized that like I needed to be there, and then after that it was less of a decision, and it was more of like, okay, I need to start taking action. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, I can follow my parents' advice and not go, but then Lately won't go anywhere, and that's my dream, that's my passion. So I just kind of had to make a decision and just kind of chase that. So Kyle was there convincing me a lot. He's like, come on, man, you just gotta do it. You just gotta
send it.
Just
bro.
send it, bro.
Don't leave me high and dry, man. I can't do this by myself.
Exactly. There's no way Kyle would be in a 1-bedroom apartment in LA right now.
Oh, yeah. So how's it been? Have you found yourself having to sacrifice because of the difference of LA versus here, or has it kind of been more of a blessing than you thought it would be?
I think like for me, it's been like a huge blessing.
Yeah.
Because I think it's like a big deal just like for any human to make a move like that.
Total. Yeah. 100%.
And I think just I can, like, if I look in hindsight, I can see down the road, like, just being blessed and seeing God's favor, like, in certain decisions, just out of an act of obedience. I think. Because I think for me, like, I see Lately not just as a brand. It's like God has given me this gifting to, like, be creative and express my creativity in this like lane. Yeah. And, like, there's no way it's gonna fail. You know what I mean? And I think like God's called me to do this, and it's a calling thing. It's not like it's an obedience thing. It's not just like I'm doing this and this is fun. Yeah. Even though it is that, like it's fun and I love doing it and I want to do it forever. But like it's been a blessing just because it's come out of a place of being obedient to what God's calling me to do. Yeah,
that's like the plus side of doing something that you love, is it's like if it can, like Kyle, it aligns with his calling and it aligns with what he wants to do, and it's super fun for him to do. Like it's what he enjoys. So it's like the best of both worlds. It feels almost as if you have somebody backing you, you know?
Totally.
Because it's like there's no way you can fail because you're at the end of the day you're doing what you want, and if you do what you want, you don't really fail because you can't like do. You know what I mean? Like, you can't mess up what you want to do.
Right.
I don't know how you do that.
It's what you want to do. So if you're doing what you want to do, then what is the measure of failure?
Exactly. That's the point.
And I think that is one of the hardest things for people to overcome, is to just do it. Sure. You know, because I can't even tell you how many times, even in like myself, but also how many times I have conversations with people and they're like, oh, that would be so cool. And like me and my buddy Jake, we have this like revolving joke of like we send each other business ideas. Like, oh, this is a great business idea. But it's just like, it's so fun to like conceptualize and talk about, this would be so awesome. Yeah. But to actually step out and do it, that's where the fear comes in. Sure. Because I guess the next question that I'm curious about, because I feel like the number one thing that deters people from action when they're wanting to do something is maybe an insecurity within themselves or a fear of what other people, would say. Yeah. And so, did you guys ever face that kind of stuff where someone's like, are you sure you want to do this? Or like, I don't know about that. And I guess is that easy for you guys to take, or has it been like I really have to strengthen my faith in order to be like, no, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do? Yeah. Has there been a struggle there, or have you experienced 100%.
that? 100%.
I think I haven't had like a particular interaction where someone has come to me and said like, are you sure? Yeah. But I think when you're like, oh, I'm starting a clothing company, like you're doing all these things, practical steps. All right, we got our business license. We're doing it. Like, I think like when you're creating out of a place that's like from here, it's like very vulnerable. And I think you get in your head of like, I think it's like the thing like, are people gonna like it? Like the mental game of like, oh my gosh, like what if we release this and no one likes
the mental part of it is crazy.
Like all of that, like especially when we first released our hoodies, like our first round, like that was like a constant, like, man, I hope this is so sick, but like there's that thought in the back of your head, like, what if this tanks?
Yeah.
You just look like an idiot.
Yeah.
But like you really don't, because just like what you said, like how many times do conversations happen where like people are like, oh man, it would be so sick if we did this.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, well, this is such a great idea, and nothing, it's just a dream.
Yeah.
It's just a pipe dream, and no one ever talks about it, no one ever takes action and moves forward with it. And I've said this before, but I think like a big thing I think Artem and I are stoked on is like we started something.
Oh yeah.
Like, by no means we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
We
know
didn't
what I
go to
mean?
fashion
Yeah.
school or nothing.
Like, but like we're just like stoked that we did something.
Right.
And like at the end of the day, we're just learning as we're going and learning by doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, and on top of like the mental like, you know, like boundaries that you get of your own head thinking like, what if it tanks, or what if this happens, or once you start something, I feel like naturally there becomes like this momentum.
Yeah.
So like once you get the ball rolling, it just kind of keeps rolling, and you just, I guess the problems, they don't get smaller, but you just learn how to deal with the problems easier.
Yeah.
Like you get you learn how to deal with like people telling you no, or like your own thoughts telling you no.
Yeah.
Easier.
Very
Like the more things we do, the more we learn, and the easier it becomes. But I for sure have had people like physically come up to me and say, hey, I don't know if this is going to be like good. I don't know if this is going to work. And that's really hard, because it's like somebody telling that to your face.
Totally.
And like, what do you say to that? What do you say to somebody that's like, your dream sucks, it's not going to work?
Thank you.
Exactly.
You know, like, what?
Yeah. And I feel like the response I have to people like that is like, look, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yep.
But like we've talked about, is I'm doing something and I love it and I want to pursue it. And if it doesn't work, I'll come back and move in with my parents. Like that's the worst that can happen.
Worst case scenario. So. And that's the thing. Like, like worst case scenario with anything is like, okay, time to hit the reset button.
Yeah, you failed.
But like, do you want to end up like 50 years old looking back and be like, wow, that would have been really cool to try, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And I never want to be in that place in my life with regret or whatever. But I think it was John Bevere. I don't know. But basically he says that, you know, how comforting is it that as passionate as you are about doing what you're doing, God is infinitely more excited for you to succeed than even you are. And I think that's helped me think about like, okay, how excited am I about what I'm doing? Okay, that excitement, it pales in comparison to God cheering for me and wanting me to succeed.
Yeah, sure.
And it's like, it's the cliche, you know, corny, like, if God is for you, who can be against you, you know? And we've heard it a million times, but I think it's so true that like, hey, if this is the passion in your heart, if this is what you feel like God has called you to do, and you have the literal God of the universe behind you, I think that, you know, that's all the confidence that I need.
Yeah.
You know,
for sure.
that'll keep me going.
And that's kind of what I've had to learn is like, some people in my life don't want me doing this. Some people want me to be working a 9 to 5 and have a secure job and be married already. And honestly, those things will happen when they happen. Not the 9 to 5 thing. I never want to work one of those. But you know, marriage and all, you know, that stuff. Those things will happen. But this is what I want, and this is what I'm chasing right now. So that's kind of what I tell people is like, I know it's gonna work because I feel called to it, and I feel like this is just the road I'm supposed to take. I don't know. Yeah.
No, and I think I mean, there's always like, what famous or successful person never had people doubt, you know, what they were doing.
Right.
You know, and it says less about you and more about the person that's talking to you. And I know in my life, like, of course there's people that I trust in my life to where they came up and they were like, Spencer, this is what you're doing right here. You should stop. I might be like, oh, okay. Like consider it. But that's like, I can count on one hand, you know? So yeah, it's good, you know, not to get overly concerned or, you know, really worry about what the masses are saying to you, because they don't know your story. They don't know, you know, what God's spoken to you. They don't know the work that you've put in. They don't know your passions. So that's a dangerous game to say, okay, I'm looking to please what everybody's saying, you know? Okay, cool. So now that we know a little bit about lately, we're going to learn a little bit more about you guys. We're going to do something called a hot take segment.
Hot take.
I'm all about hot takes. So listen,
It'd
we're
be
gonna
perfect if today was Tuesday. I know. Hot
take Tuesday. Maybe I'll release this on a Tuesday, and then we can call it Hot Take Tuesday.
Oh wow.
Hot Take Tuesday. And you know what? Maybe there's gonna be some questions that I don't even have written down.
Oof.
Wow.
But we'll just see where it goes. Okay. Here's the
Are you a rapper?
first question. Hot take.
Bring it on.
What is your favorite, besides lately, obviously? What is your favorite brand right now?
Besides
lately.
I was gonna say lately because my
Yeah,
favorite
obviously
brand.
besides.
But I don't know. I really I don't know. I was gonna say one, but now I'm changing my mind mid sentence. Okay, Kyle, you go first because I needed time to
It's
process.
a big
right now.
question.
It's a
people.
huge question.
I think there's the heavy hitters that you just gotta love, you know, like the Rude,
Yeah,
like the
no,
Reese
of course. I'm
Cooper,
wearing a
you know
Rude
what I mean?
or shirt right now.
Yeah.
Not sweat.
So like those are like the heavy hitters that are like every time their stuff is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Straight
think
bangers.
like my favorite brand right now, they're slept on. I think
Ooh.
they're called Malice Studios.
Okay.
They're
Oh,
sick.
very cool.
Malice
They're
Studios?
Malice.
Oh, Malice Studios.
Malice Studios.
Yeah.
They're out of Canada.
Ooh,
They're sick.
Okay.
I like it a lot. They just released a new like collection and it turned out really good. It's
look 'em
really
up.
sick. Yeah, that's my favorite right now.
Yeah.
All
Okay. I've come to the conclusion.
Okay.
I really just like this brand called Ambush a lot. They're
Okay.
obviously pretty well known, but I feel like in the past I haven't really vibed or liked them as much. But this recent last couple months, they've just been doing thing after thing that's like, whoa, this is different. Like this is crazy. Like
Out there.
obviously like Virgil did like the like Jordan 1,
Yep.
you know, like off-white kind of shoe.
Yeah.
And then now they're doing like a Jordan 1 dunk kind of situation.
Ooh.
But they're like putting like this emo kind of
Whoa.
like switch on it. I don't know. It's crazy. It looks crazy. And I tried to get them, but I couldn't. But I don't know. It's something about like
That
what they're
sneakers
doing
hat,
is
bro.
like really cool. And it's really like moving the scene forward, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. We'll get back to the hot takes, but still on this one.
Sure.
Do you feel like fashion or streetwear, you know, especially like has had a crazy surge in the last year? I feel like everybody's on sneakers app now. Like I
Yeah.
feel like that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
But I don't
Sure.
know what because I was thinking about Virgil's Jordan 1s,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
At the time that was so out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wow, I can't believe he did that. But I feel like now it's like you look at that and you're like, oh yeah, that's sick.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
it's normal now.
You almost expect brands
Yes.
to have a shoe collab or
Yes,
something.
like collab. That's what maybe it is. Maybe collabs is with the
Yeah.
hype. of,
Collabs
like-
are for sure like streamlining
Yeah.
right now. I think that's
and
huge.
I'm about it.
I
Yeah.
think too, like I wouldn't go like I think streetwear has been a thing for like a decade.
Yeah.
But starting with like Bobby Hundreds and the brand The Hundreds with graphic T-shirts, that was like really like the start of streetwear.
Yeah.
But like that like hype beast wave of like you see like Palace,
Yep.
like all these like Supreme, all this
Yeah.
stuff. Like it was so like sought after and hard to get for a long time, and now it's just like accessible and expected to like
That is true.
have. And I think that's more of like the wave right now. It's like that hype beast like lane is like what everyone is, I won't say is on, but is like what's most accessible. Because I like the likeliness of one of us in this room to get our hands on one of the 10 off-white Nike collabs, like the original 10.
Oh,
like
yeah.
you're dropping racks
Right.
to get
Like
that shoe.
yeah, Jordan, what like $4,000?
Yeah, like
right?
you see like the
Yeah.
Yeezys, like all that kind of
Yes.
stuff is so accessible, and
Yeah.
like that's like I think a huge wave people are riding, like very like mainline, streamlined like fashion people are into. I wouldn't say it's like my taste, but I think like broad range from like 12 to 22-year-old people
Yeah.
are like that's like it.
Yeah.
Do you think that Supreme and Palace and those are like? Do you think that they're like
I don't know where this is
shifting
going.
to more of like a Starbucks? That going
Fast
back on
like
our
fast
last,
fashion?
yeah, like
No.
going back on our last conversation about like
I wouldn't say
I
it's
just feel like there's so many people
When you-
that are wearing it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like when you get to a point where you're so big, there's two things you can do is like you can sell out,
Yeah.
and that's when you become like Starbucks.
Yep.
You know that like.
And
that
by
metaphor.
the way, I'm not hating on Starbucks
but
at
what you-
all.
what-
I mean, I'm
like
drinking it right
yeah,
now,
he's
but-
just, like
Same.
I love Starbucks, but I'm just saying it's more that is like
Sure.
streamlined.
Streamlined.
It's everybody. It's
You know what you're
mainstream.
gonna get.
Exactly.
You know where
Yeah.
to find one.
Exactly.
It's just
Yeah.
right there.
I think
Yeah.
Like, I think when he's talking about like sell out, not like, were you talking about like sell out like of all your stuff, or it's like you sell out to the business?
No, yeah. You
you're a
like
sellout.
sell out
You're
to
a
the
sellout.
person that has more money than you that can help you get to wherever you want to go.
Yeah.
But I feel like when you get to that point, there's like brands. There's like you can sell out to like somebody that'll get you to the next level, or you can sell out to a company that'll just help you manufacture everything at a lower cost and
Right.
get you to a point where you can do everything faster and quicker. If you go that route, I feel like that's when you become that like Starbucks vein of very accessible and like because you lose that quality over quantity.
Yeah, and there is an element of like if something's like exclusive to where it's like sought after more
Sure.
Yes,
and valued more.
100%.
Obviously, it's supply and demand, but yeah, I mean, it's not a bad thing that they're so popular. I'm just wondering because I'm like, yo, why am I seeing 10-year-olds with Supreme hoodies?
I wouldn't
right
say.
now? What are we
like,
talking
I
about?
wouldn't
Where'd
say
you get
those
that?
brands,
Yeah, I'm like, who is your
box
mom?
logo, the box
Who are
logo.
your parents?
Copped it off Grail for like
For real?
$800.
Yeah,
Christmas present.
But I wouldn't say like I wouldn't go as far as say those brands are like fast fashion because like Zara's fast fashion.
right.
Like
That's
that,
like true
H&M's
fast fashion.
like unethical ways of making their clothes.
Yeah.
That's like not like they hop on trends and they flip it. I wouldn't say like Supreme is that.
Yeah,
No.
Because Supreme is
No,
like they've done their own thing since the 90s. Like
totally.
since they were like truly a skate
They've
brand.
like waited for their stuff to be popular.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. They've had their like season of
Yeah.
getting there.
Yeah, I wouldn't go as far as say it's fast fashion, but I would say it's like very streamlined right now. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it will be for a long time, especially like Supreme. I think will be relevant forever, honestly.
Yeah, but it won't ever go back to that spot where it was like if you have a
Skate.
Supreme
Like you go to the
piece, that's like
store.
a coveted
Yes.
thing
Yeah.
that you own, and then
Dude,
you can resell it in
like
a
literally, I
year.
drive on Fairfax all the time. And there's always lines out the building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's forever going to be like that.
I read this article about this guy that sold a Supreme. I mean, we're talking vintage Supreme at that point, obviously. Sweatshirts, shirts, box logos. But he sold his collection for like $10 million.
Oh my goodness!
Crazy. I mean, it was a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But okay, back to our hot takes
Let's do it.
segment.
Real
hot
second.
takes.
You have to pick one clothing brand to wear the rest of your life. What are you picking right now today?
Okay,
One brand.
One brand. If it's like,
I already got it.
if it's like for the rest of my life, I
That
don't know.
is-
I
yes,
feel
that
like
is
I
the
would go with
question.
something comfortable.
Okay.
I would probably do like, I feel like
Be
Uniqlo
careful here.
would
Be
be like
careful
my
here.
top pick. Uniqlo would be my top pick. Okay,
Okay.
because think about it.
That's
All
that's a hot
listen,
take.
all
That
the
is a hot take.
factors are. I have one brand to wear for the rest of my
Yeah.
life. Who's got more variety than Uniqlo? Right? You got t-shirts, you got jackets, you got pants, you got sweats, and their socks. Look, their socks
I feel
are
like a lot
to
of
die
clothing
for.
brands
Like the
have
most
sweat.
practical
Yeah.
right
Okay.
I
Hey,
honestly respect
hey,
it.
what clothing brand has sweatshirts,
Uniqlo.
shirts, pants?
Get out of here.
Every clothing brand. That's crazy,
No, but I just
dude.
feel like they have like a good
I get what
selection
you're saying.
of
I get what you're saying.
quality,
Yeah.
comfy. I don't know.
I get you.
I'm over here thinking like it's my last day to live. I'm on like a deserted island.
I'm
not the
running
question.
to Uniqlo really quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, Kyle, just take it from me.
I would
'cause-
say Carhartt.
Oh.
Whoa.
Mainline,
That is a hot
Mainline, not
Hot
whip, not
take.
Carhartt whip. Mainline.
mainline Carhartt.
I wear it every day, really, to begin with.
I think
That or
I'm
Dickies.
s-
That or
okay.
Dickies.
Okay, that's respect. I'm like such a not plain. I'm a minimalist type
Yeah,
of
for
person that like I'd probably choose like John Elliott or something where I
Yeah.
could just wear just basic t-shirts and jeans.
Oh, so you bougie.
Yeah.
You're
Well, okay. Well,
bougie.
hold on. The question. I'm not putting money into the question. If you got it
Oh,
all free, if
okay.
you got it all free.
Yeah, dude.
All right.
Yeah.
Shots how you're fitted, dude.
Yeah, come on. Are you
Whatever.
changing?
I said my
you got-
piece.
you're
I'm gonna die
yeah,
on
you're
that
gonna
hill.
say it. Okay. What is your guys's? If someone is looking for clothes on a budget, is there a specific brand you recommend, or do you recommend thrifting?
If you're in LA, don't thrift in LA.
Don't thrift in LA.
I mean, you can hit the flea markets,
Yeah.
but
That's good, but if you're like going to like Goodwills in LA, actually Goodwills in LA are good, but you'll never find anything. But if you go to like the thrift shops in LA, you're buying a shirt that's like $80 that you could find outside of the city for like $15. You know what I
Valley's,
mean?
the Valley's where it's at.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend a brand. I would recommend thrifting. Because not everyone in this podcast is from LA or living in LA.
Gotcha.
But
That's
I
true.
think widespread, like thrifting is great because you're good for the environment. I'm not trying to be that guy, but not trying to be that guy.
Okay.
But it's like it's a sustainable way of reusing clothes, and it's cheap, and you can find sick stuff.
I just don't. You can't. Okay, listen. Thrifting, I have 100% respect for, and people that thrift, I'm like, you're awesome.
But it's like, I think the difference is like, is it curated like a thrift shop, like Scorpio Rising, Tacoma, which is like everything's gonna be hitters.
Yep.
And it's affordable. Hitters. Or are you going to Goodwill, which I respect that grind because I don't have the patience to freaking go through every rack.
Yeah. I don't know. I just have a hard time wearing something that I don't know where it's been.
I mean, most people wash it.
Yeah, okay, I know that, but it's just like the principle. I don't know. I guess, maybe I need to get over it, but I mean, I just can't like.
If we're talking about brands, like if thrifting isn't your forte, like Uniqlo is always great.
See, we're back to Uniqlo. I'm telling you, Uniqlo is the way to go.
They're affordable.
Uniqlo is
fire. Wearing socks right now from them.
Dang.
Forever 21?
No,
I couldn't even finish that.
We're taking a break.
I'm joking. Uniqlo is honestly really great. Dickies is really cheap. Carhartt's pretty cheap. So I mean, I think those are like super affordable, like basics.
Yeah, if you want to look good, and like if you want something cheap and you want to go outside and you want to look like good, just wear a plain pair of Dickies, some white socks, a sneaker of your choice. You know, it doesn't have to be all white, doesn't have to be all black, doesn't have to be, of your choice, whatever you feel comfortable in. And then a t-shirt that, is just like a blank tee. And you're going to look better than most people dress.
Crispy.
You know what I mean? You're going to, crispy. I don't know. I feel like
sometimes less is more, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly, yeah.
Sometimes people be trying too hard.
It's the way I live my life.
I was in Europe. I was next to a dude. He was literally wearing like... he's wearing like Gucci glasses, which whatever respect, Gucci long jacket, right? Yep. So his like glasses were like brown. His jacket was like that brown plaid Gucci. He was wearing, I am not kidding you, a lime green Gucci polo, right? Then he's wearing Gucci slacks and Gucci loafers. I said, this man is crazy.
Correct.
Dude,
so don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
No.
Minimalist
That's
stuff.
just not what you want.
It's not what anybody wants.
It's nice to have like a tasteful piece of like designer, like a sneaker or like a pant.
What's your favorite high fashion designer?
Ooh, probably Dior.
Dior.
Yeah. I love
Dior Jordans.
Don't.
Those are like $10,000.
Those I will never get my hands on in my life. But
I think at least, honestly, I think they might be more than 10,000.
Yeah.
I'd say mine. It's tough.
Kyle's the bougie one.
I like Prada a lot, actually.
Yep. See, I told you.
Bougie.
I've been trying to cop a pair of Prada loafers.
Oh, for like 10 months he's been looking for it, scouring the internet.
Okay, cool. So last thing, we have just a little bit of time left, like 5 minutes. So I kind of maybe just want to talk about, is there anything in this current season of lately that you're either, or actually, you know what? I was going to ask a question. I'm going to ask the question.
Oh.
Here's a real question. Do you have some things coming up that you're excited for?
Sure.
You obviously, I know that like information is like, not all public, but is there things coming up, projects that are in line that you're excited for in this next season, or potential collections, or what you guys got going on?
Yeah. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, this is twofold. We have a couple things coming up.
Yeah.
Timeline is kind of up in the air, so I wouldn't say like this is the date.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect a date right now.
Okay.
We're
but probably wouldn't give it anyways.
I live my life that way too.
Right.
I'm like, whatever. Whenever it happens, it happens. You know what I'm saying?
Right. We do have a collab coming up with our good friend Justin Boone.
Great guy. Great guy.
Yeah, friend of the podcast.
friend of the podcast. I'll co-sign on that. I trust them.
He's really great. Give him a follow on Instagram for all your fit pick.
Oh, absolutely.
Inspos. But he owns a brand called David and Goliath.
Oh, sick.
Super talented designer, and he's awesome.
Yeah.
He's a very like one-of-one based designer of his clothing, and his kind of mentality is like, how can I take a piece and push it to its limits and kind of make it better, and not in like an arrogant or posh way. It's just like, how can I push this piece to its like full potential.
Yeah.
And we're basically doing a collabing on a hoodie with him.
Sick.
So it'll be a variation of our hoodie we released first a couple months ago, but it's gonna be sick. So keep on the lookout for that.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that one.
Yeah.
Justin, I feel like he's very genuine and like in what he does. He doesn't like really boast about his product, but it is really cool.
Yeah.
Like every piece he's done is like really cool. If you like just scroll through his Instagram, you're gonna be inspired instantly.
Cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm super excited for that. And we have like a couple more things coming up in the new year. We're like starting and venturing into like, I mean, we're in LA, right? So we're trying to learn as much as we can, and we're surrounded by all this like random talent, you know what I mean? So we're trying to get to a point where everything that we make is made by us, like uniquely, like designed by us, right? So looking back to a point where like, okay, our hoodie was a blank that we use. We sourced a very high quality blank. And we printed on it, you know, and people love that. But we're like, how do we take that to the next level and keep, you know, that product, but make it completely our own? So that's kind of like the lane that we're venturing in. And like a lot of that New Year's.
In other words, cut and sew.
Yeah. So. A lot of that New Year's stuff is going to be 100% designed by Kyle and I.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Love that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming on to the Future Is Now Leadership Podcast. We're going to drop a link. If you're on YouTube, we'll drop a link to your guys' website and to your Instagram accounts so you guys can check them out. Make sure you check them out. Make sure that you follow them. They have a lot of awesome things coming up. If you're on, podcast, then we'll drop the link as well. So just make sure you look in the description and we'll have a link there. Check out their website. They're amazing people, incredible leaders. So I appreciate you guys coming onto the podcast.
Sure. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, of course. And to everybody listening or watching, thank you for joining in, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Yep. Peace.